Welcome back to I Am Angus, brought to you by the American Angus Association and the Igenity Profile for Angus, providing Angus breeders with comprehensive genomic results for multiple economically important traits. Near Roseburg, Oregon, the Sandberg family, who raise registered Angus cattle, have spent the last 2 decades restoring the once endangered Columbia white-tailed deer.
Well, our ranching operation is a family operation. We raise a lot of cattle and a lot of sheep here in Douglas County. Our operation is both ranches that we own and that we lease. Well, when we first came to Douglas County in 1980, I had an opportunity to help my father-in-law quite a bit and doing a lot of riding in the hills. I found myself in the middle of these Columbian whitetail, blacktail, turkeys, and I really enjoyed just riding along and seeing them and begin to understand that they are part of the land here.
The Columbian white-tailed deer in Oregon are found in 2 different areas, one on the lower Columbia River, both on the islands in the Columbia and on the Washington and Oregon mainland. And the second population is located here in Roseburg, in Douglas County, primarily centered around the North Umpqua River. They were listed under the Federal Endangered Species Act in the 1970s and then listed under the State Endangered Species Act in the 1980s. And a recovery plan was formed to try to meet certain criteria in order to qualify them for taking off the list.
When we sat down as a family to create a management plan for the ranches we own and the ranches we leased, we looked very hard to see what direction we wanted to take our program. So we started with a forage-based management plan in which we enlisted burning, prescribed burning. We enlisted some farming practices, growing perennial crops. So we had crops for year-round use for our sheep and cattle.
We've planted trees and we've got little oak patches that them whitetails seem to thrive in. We've done extensive crick project. All that creates excellent habitat.
Riparian management also benefits fish, and we've got coho that are listed, steelhead, cutthroat trout. A lot of bird species nest and live their lives primarily in riparian zones. Waterfowl, so all those benefit from good riparian management. Delisting couldn't be done without the landowners, primarily the ag and livestock industry here in Douglas County. Over 95% of the deer in this subpopulation reside on private land. The evidence, of course, is that the population's tripled in the last 15 years.
I think as ranchers and stewards of the land, it's our responsibility to protect the future of wildlife for the generations to come. I think this is where wildlife lives. I think they need this ground, they need the open space. And we need to make sure we're there to protect it.
Ranches are more than just cattle and horses. The McLarens, who run Angus cattle on Oregon's eastern ranges, are committed to seeing their lands remain intact and to preserving the last great places of eastern Oregon.
My mother and dad went to where we keep our mother cows in the Hells Canyon area, lower Imnaha actually, a tributary of the Snake River, in 1919, and that was the start. And then gradually we've gone on as we found pieces of land that would complement our operation, always with the goal of making it not to be larger necessarily, to make it better.
We've learned to be sustainable. We've learned by practicing what you can and can't do, and we've been very good to the environment. We return back, I think, more than what we take.
We're the keepers of open space. That's one of the values we share with just about everybody. We don't want rampant, uncontrolled growth, and so if with our ranching activities we can keep this ground from being developed in an unplanned manner, then I think we're contributing something greater to the society than just the production of red meat.
Our private land and our federal land that we have permits to run cattle are indistinguishable. And we try to treat as best we can the land that we are responsible and graze. We treat it just as if it were our own, and we have to have the same consideration for sustainability. It applies to that federal land as well as private land.
We're doing good things on the land and raising a really good product for people to consume, and it's on a renewable basis, that we're treading as lightly on this earth and feeding, 200,000 people a year the amount of meat that they need in their diets in a renewable manner.
We get some enjoyment out of thinking we are producing something that can be used, that we're contributing to the economy. Producing food, fiber in the case of sheep and wool, and to whatever degree, absolute necessary ingredient to get to get a hungry world fed. If we could just do one thing in the United States, if we can contribute till we're sure everybody has enough to eat and a warm place to sleep, that would be a major accomplishment, wouldn't it? Seems to me it would be.
Did you know the National Junior Angus Association is the largest junior beef breed organization in the world? With more than 6,000 active members, the National Junior Angus program offers youth opportunities to learn more about the Angus breed, agriculture, and their own potential. The Junior Association hosts leadership conferences, conducts the largest single-breed beef show in the U.S., and fosters the future of Angus. Coming up next, a glimpse into a bygone era of the American Angus business.